Hi, Fiora. What's going on this week?
Hi, Joe. We just got back from Idyllwild.
Oh, how was that?
It was a really great break from this weather that we're having, which is just unbearably hot.
You're having a
Uh,
heat wave?
yeah. This week's supposed to be like in the hundreds, I think.
Oh, wait.
Mm,
Oh,
Yeah,
all I can do is make noises for you, like noises of disgust.
yeah. But Idyllwild was like no more than 80, like low 80s. So it was really nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very peaceful.
Okay. So, in Idyllwild is where we are having our retreat.
Yes. So I think everybody will be pleased with the location. It's gonna be a great time.
Excellent. And at that time, this is in November. So, what's the weather typically like in November in Southern California?
It's chilly.
Is it?
Well, up in the mountain, it's gonna
Oh,
be pretty chilly.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be cool. It'll be I think 60s.
Oh, but so that's still like leggings, sweatshirt weather, and maybe they have a
Yes.
fire pit there. We don't. I couldn't see from the pictures and stuff. So
Yeah, we'll see because it's still like they're still doing some renovations and stuff to it. So we'll see what we get.
excellent, excellent. Um, anything else?
I started reading. So are you reading a book or anything right now? I started reading this new book. I want to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I am. I am. What are you reading?
So it is called Central America's Forgotten History: Revolution, Violence, and the Roots of Migration.
Light reading.
A little bit of light reading. Okay, what I like about it is because okay, so my mom's from El Salvador, and I know she came here in the 80s, which was still when their civil war was going on. And I've always heard about the atrocities of it, of how awful it was, how many family members we lost, a lot of extended family members, cousins and stuff. We lost neighbors. And I heard all these horrible stories, but I've never known why. Like, why was this happening? What caused it? Anyway, I even asked my mom. So I was having a conversation with my mom. So I'm telling her I'm reading this book. And I'm like, Mom, why did the Civil War in El Salvador happen? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, she's like, I just remember they were killing politicians, they were killing important people, and then this war broke out, and it was just this, and so I'm like, so you don't have any idea like why it happened. So it's crazy how even somebody who lived there and lived through it, like your memories are jogged. And so
Right.
that's what the book is about. It's about the collective memory, and how, because history is written by the people in power,
Yep.
so it's written from their perspective.
Right.
And so it's understanding the history of what happened in these countries. And the point of it being, I'm not done with it yet, but the point of it is that like there's all this conflict that happens in these countries, and a lot of this, the U.S. is giving money to these forces to come and do all these horrible things to its citizens. And then when the citizens start to flee the country and come, here for safety, then we have the audacity to be like,
Keep
no.
out. Keep out. Don't come here. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
So I
what
don't
the fuck?
understand, why are they giving them money? How does this benefit the U.S. if they know that there are atrocities that are being, um, you know, made against these people?
Well, it's different for each country, but like for example, in Nicaragua, it was about uh it was the freaking banana, the Dole banana.
Dual banana people.
It was essentially a corporation was there, and they were the biggest landowner in the country. And then a new guy came in trying to run for president. He's like, we're gonna take our country back, and we're gonna kick these Americans out. And then these people that were part of this business essentially gained allies with the U.S. although I will say a lot of like the president's cabinet was already like part of, they were also on the board of directors for the company as well, so
So
it's a
corruption, regardless
eh,
of what country you're in or what government you are from, you're
yeah.
corrupt.
Yes. So that's so I mean, long story short, they were not going to have it. Like this corporation was not going to have being kicked out, and so they gained the US support to help keep them there, and violence ensued, and to the detriment of its people.
All
So,
right. Again, just a little light reading. But, super interesting how you broke that down because a lot of people don't know. There's the term, it's called whitewashing, which, that's a derogatory term in itself. But, the general idea is that, that history is viewed, like you said, through the, or it's shared through the lens of the oppressors versus, the oppressed. And it's sad
right.
because
Right.
real stories aren't, put out there.
Yeah.
I am reading Your Soul's Love by Robert Schwartz. He's one of my favorite authors. He's got 3 books. He's a hypnotist who offers between lives soul regression. And so,
Okay.
a lot of people maybe know that life between life and the planning stages is sort of like it's my passion.
Yeah.
It's the thing that I could talk for hours about. But he's had one book, and it's basically called Your Soul's Plan, where he talks about how you plan the life before you're born. Then his second book is The Soul's Gift, and that just goes deeper into it, and where he gets into examining the pre-birth planning process. That's what got me hooked. And also that's what helped me realize when I opened up my own Akashic record how I help people plan their soul blueprints on the other side. That's sort of my job.
Wow.
And then this is his third book, and this one is called Your Soul's Love. And this one's really cool because he goes into he explains or he explores the pre-birth planning stages of how we pick our loves, and or the absence of them based on things like it's broken down into like fidelity, impotence, raising children after alone after somebody dies, being single, why some people are single for so long, which was really interesting to me because I'm still single, and so it's really, really cool. But so he's, like I said, he's one of my favorite life between life authors, and
That's so interesting.
speakers.
So, is that a long answer though for that? Like why people are single for a long time? 'Cause-
There's a ton of them. There are
okay.
blocks. There's karma, karmic debt, karmic lessons. A lot of it though has to do with karma. Sometimes it's just experiential, right? People just have to experience solitary lifestyles. But one of the things that sort of interests me is that people that write these, or when a soul writes a specific experience in their soul blueprint, they also write the desire to have that experience or to be okay or content with that experience.
Okay.
So
Okay.
somebody who's meant to be single is going to be sort of like resigned and content with it.
They're gonna be cool with it. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Because I was gonna say, so then, if you're a person who's single, but you have like this yearning in your heart to be with someone or to have that relationship, then that's probably not what you chose for yourself,
I feel seen.
right? Like,
Yes.
yeah. Then that's not what you're meant to have. That's not what you're gonna have. That's not what you wrote for yourself. If you feel that way.
Yeah, no, and that was sort
Okay.
of one of the reasons why I was so like, this book came out at the perfect time because I was, sort of worried and lamenting, like, am I
Yeah.
doomed? Did I write
No.
this experience in my own soul blueprint? And he's like, well, probably not. So
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. Especially, okay, like I know I have a lot of friends who have opted to not have children.
yeah,
And I see them, and I understand their logic behind it, but also I see within them though that they just don't have that yearning. They don't have,
zero.
yeah, which is like perfect, right? Because if that's the road you are meant to take, then you're comfortable being riding down that road.
I've never, ever once, I've never wanted kids, always known I wasn't going to have them, and I've never had a yearning. A friend of mine who's also childless, and she's in her like late 40s, she just did a post today, which, oh my God, I cracked up out loud. She said, and I'm paraphrasing here, basically, she said she was in the grocery store, and a mom, some little kid, she went up to the kid, and the kid started talking to her, and the mom was like, "No, stranger danger." And she said, "My life is complete." I was just, and again, I'm not telling it as funny as when you read it, on a Facebook post, but basically, she's like, "Yeah, I'm like the least stranger danger person available because I don't even want to go near kids.
I'm not gonna take yours.
I don't want yours. I don't want my own. Certainly don't want yours." Yeah, so that's funny.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So, do we have any events coming up? Anything planned?
I'd say we do. We have a big, big event coming up.
Yeah. So we have our Journey of the Wild, a plant medicine retreat. So that we announced this last week, and so far we're very limited on spots. So we have 5 spots open right now, and once those come, they're sold out, and that's it. We can't make room for more. So
Right.
if you're interested, there is a form on our website now where if you need to ask more questions or schedule payment plans, whatever you need to know, whatever you got to do to help you out or to make you feel comfortable, it's all there, so we can have a conversation.
Yeah, you guys, the new website, it's esotericspodcast.com. And I have got to tell you, Fiora did it all from scratch herself. She dove in and just did it. She's like, I can do this. I can do this. And I got to be honest, I was like, I don't know. I was projecting my own inadequacies onto you. You guys, honestly, and I was not expecting it to be anything fancy, just, this 1 or 2 pager. This is a legit website this girl did. So I'm giving you your props. She
Thank you.
fucking killed it. It's amazing. Please go there and look at all of the cool things. It's got all of our episodes on there. It's got our classes, our events. It's got bios about the 2 of us. There's pictures of us. We're both kind of lookers. So, and gosh, there's all sorts of things. It's just a fun website to browse. So
Yeah, and it's going to keep growing because we're going to be able to have our online community on there, and then once we get more events and stuff scheduled, it'll all be available on there.
seriously, we plan to rule the world. We just want to give you guys a heads up so you can get in on it now.
Yeah, you gotta get on, be the first on the ship, guys.
Yeah, and actually 3 of the spots are one is taken, or 1 is gone. There are 2 that are spoken for. So if you
That's more
want
like
them,
3.
yeah. So technically there's only 3. So if you want them, snag them.
Yes. Okay.
Listen, this week Fiora's gonna teach us about something. So what are we talking about this week?
Well, today we are talking about dreams, the state of dreaming.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so actually I've always been into studying dreams. Like I have a pretty good memory as it is just in waking life. And guess that maybe somehow translates over into my sleep as well, because I do remember the majority of my dreams. I've always had some kind of dream that I would remember since I was a kid, and it was like my mom and I on like the drive to school and stuff in the morning, we just talk about our dreams.
Cool.
And so my mom's actually the reason why I owned a dream encyclopedia from being like really small. Like I've always had one, because she'd be like, Fioralice, I had a dream about some snakes. Go look it up and tell me what it's about. and so I'd go and I'd look it up, and every time it was something, there was a meaning to it. Everything. So definitely looking at a dream encyclopedia helps, because sometimes we just straight up don't know.
Yeah.
But I think there are also things that when you have recurring dreams, and if you have like recurring images or animals or places that you see, you're going to also start to build like your own dream encyclopedia.
Yeah.
As you like write down your dreams, and you realize like, oh, okay, this is what was happening around this time, and this is what this is why I dreamt that. Like put the two together.
Yeah, it's similar to your developing your intuitive abilities. It with symbolisms or symbols and
Yes.
signs. When you get the same symbol, it doesn't necessarily it. What it means is really specific to you versus a turtle isn't a
Yes.
turtle if it's could be mean slow to somebody.
Right, exactly. So, like, for example, that's a perfect example. So, like, a turtle, like, for a turtle, it could be like somebody that's they're maybe feeling like they're going through a recluse stage where
Yeah.
they're, in their shell,
Yep.
and they feel like they're not ready to come out into the world as who they are. Or for somebody else, it could be that they're moving too slow, like they're not getting to where they want to be fast enough. So,
Exactly. Exactly. It's about interpreting those signs. So cool.
yes,
Cool.
yeah. So the Carl Jung, the father of psychology, also talked a lot about dreams, and he explained that a lot of times our dreams were directly related to our psyche and what's going on in our subconscious. So a lot of times what dreams are just that. It's us working through subconscious information, subconscious thoughts, feelings, and we're working through them in the dream state. And I guess I imagine that it's different for everyone. I know just from my personal experience, my dreams are always this crazy, heightened, exaggerated version of the truth.
Yeah.
Did you have dreams coming into like pre-quarantine, pre-COVID? Did you have anything like that?
Not that I can remember, like specifically. You mean about COVID or any prophetic dreams or whatever?
Yeah, uh-huh. Anything
No,
like that? Nope.
precognition isn't really one of my stronger abilities.
Okay. I had for a solid 2 years.
Wow.
I would say since like 2018, definitely. I've had dreams about kind of two different things. I had dreams about the end of the world,
Oh.
like a literal like
Hmm.
apocalypse, and like freeways were just packed with people trying to get out. And I was always like, why do I have this? Like, what's that Elijah Wood? That movie with the when the meteor's coming, and like the
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know, but yeah, there's like a bunch of them. Like the day after and all that crap.
yeah, a deep impact.
Oh. Okay.
So it was like I'd have like these deep impact dreams about like everyone like running and anyway. So there was that for a
Which
minute.
you can't really run from an asteroid or
No,
or a tsunami. I mean, running is
right.
futile.
So I would have that, and then towards the end of 2019, I was just dreaming of islands. Like that we all lived on islands. Like everybody lived on their own little island, and we were just surrounded by water. Just water, water everywhere. Um, and then, we ended up in quarantine and everybody's stuck at home. So, so when it finally hit, it was kind of like,
Uh-huh.
oh.
And at the time, you weren't aware that you have prophetic dreams, so you didn't know what to think of them.
No, it did freak me out though, because I was like, I don't want the world to end. Like, and I
Unless
also
I,
don't want to like, I don't. I also don't want to like put myself in get myself hospitalized because I'm having these crazy dreams.
well, that's
Like
true.
if I tell people.
Right.
So I've learned to just understand that for me, my dreams are always super exaggerated. So,
Yeah. Well, and because dreams work, your subconscious works in symbolism again, super exaggerated,
mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Dreams are absolutely always very largely symbolic. So, what I wanted to talk about though was to give some tips on how to help. Like, how for somebody that's interested in doing this kind of like dream work, dream recollection stuff, tips on how to improve your retention of the information, your memory retention. So one of the first things to do is just to improve your sleep habit. Do you have a bedtime routine?
No. 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 I can't think of an area of my life where I'm have zero routine more than that.
For a while, what I had done was I don't look at my phone once I'm like in bed and ready to get myself to sleep. I stopped doing that because I know that definitely does affect. The biggest thing that affects me though is watching TV.
Oh yeah.
If I watch TV right before going to sleep, it is 100% guaranteed I'm gonna have a dream about whatever I was just watching. So when we were watching Handmaid's Tale, I had
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
no, you
It's
know how
not.
many times I ended up
As a
being
handmaid.
as a handmaid? It's not fun.
Listen, my I watch either one of two shows in order to fall asleep if I'm not
Okay.
watching something specific. The Golden Girls or Murder She Wrote. So, I mean, it's a crapshoot there. So I'm
I
glad I
mean,
don't have that.
I mean, Golden Girls. I mean, I don't see how that could be a bad dream. But Murder She Wrote, I wouldn't want to be part of that
Yeah, it's
story.
all that hard hitting Jessica, what's her nose, murder.
Yeah, I have had some dreams that are so like I just dreamt a movie. I'm like, I should be a Hollywood writer. Like dream was epic. Like there's helicopters, there's like this whole scene of like people escaping and like yeah, there's like this whole like a Hollywood movie in my dreams. I'm like, if I ever need a second career.
You could. You could be like, okay, spirit, I need to channel a blockbuster.
A
Let's go.
blockbuster. Yes, yes, I have like these blockbuster dreams. But anyway, so the reason why you should avoid these electronics before going to bed is because the blue light emitted from electronics sends a signal to your brain that you need to be awake. It's the same. It's just the same way why we sleep with you if you sleep with room darkening shades, and then you can sleep for much longer because your brain has not picked up on the light, the natural light coming in, letting you know, hey, it's time to wake up.
Yeah.
One of the things, though, I've talked about this before because it's not easy for somebody to just like, oh, let me just start not doing this thing. Like, it's hard to stop eating the junk food. You gotta replace it with something else, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
So, if you replace your electronic habit maybe with journaling or
oh,
reading, so I found like for some reason, watching a movie versus reading a book, I can read like a crazy book that has like a crazy story in it and violence and whatever. I won't dream about it
no.
if I read it, but it's the visual thing that connects me.
Well, remember we talked about this. The reticular activation system is that
Right.
the body or the brain thinks in pictures versus, yeah. So
Mm.
maybe that's why.
Yeah, yeah, that would make perfect sense. Also, though, is with journaling, whether you just want to journal about your day and just write it all out.
Mhm.
One of the things for me that helps me is because sometimes I have trouble sleeping because I'm like, oh my god, I have to do this tomorrow, I have to do that, blah. I have all these things, or I forgot to do this, forgot to do that, da da da. So I'm like, have these things running through my head of all the things I haven't done or need to do or whatever. Write them down
Yeah.
and then you give them the liberty to not float around in your head anymore. Now they're on paper, not going to forget it. It's over there, and now I can rest.
Nice.
So that one's like one of my favorites. I do it all the time. I do that actually when I'm like stressed about work. Because I'll get overwhelmed, like, oh my God, I have too many things going on. But it's like, no, no, you don't. Just
Hmm.
write them down
Right.
and then watch yourself cross them off.
Yep.
And yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah. I love checklists, to-do lists. I have to have them because I will forget them. And so when I write them down and then you look back and all the things you crossed off and it makes you feel like I accomplished something.
Exactly. It makes you feel very accomplished. Yeah. Okay. And then when it comes to trying to hold on to your dreams or recall your dreams, avoid looking at your phone immediately after you wake up. Try journaling instead, even if you're just writing a couple, like, because if you're not used to remembering your dreams at all, even if it's just like a couple words or maybe some colors that you saw,
Yeah.
just small stuff. And it doesn't, so you don't have to sit there and write paragraphs. You're just writing down a couple words and that's it. But you're just trying to get into a consistent cycle of doing
Yeah.
this.
And this sort of just sets you up for that. The consistency.
Yeah. Okay. One of my favorite things, and this has actually worked really well for me, is to make an offering to your guides or your higher self. And you can offer them like a crystal or even like an open bottle of essential oil. And you can put it just like on your bedside. And so I'll just take Okay, I once made the mistake of taking an obsidian and giving it as an offering and saying like, "Will you show me a dream like about something that I need to know?" And I had a very intense dream that night, and I probably won't do that again because I think because
Ah,
obsidian is so strong.
obsidian. Yep.
Yeah, and so it was kind of scary.
It's a
That wasn't scary. It was just kind of like, oh my god. Like I had a dream like I saw my mom pass away,
oh,
and it was just kind of like what's happening, and it was just this understanding what the point was is that like I'm moving into a new part of my life. So it's like you're watching parts of you die in a way. And like it wasn't about literally my mother. It was about the idea of like a phase of motherhood of my life is now like ended. Like now I'm
right.
entering a different stage of motherhood.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's actually really beautiful.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. And I'm sure that those amethyst is also a high vibrational stone. And didn't you tell us something about putting amethyst under
yes.
your pillow or something for dreams? Dream
Yes.
recall?
So some people have said to put it under your pillow for dream recall. I've just used it in the morning when I like can't remember a dream at all.
Yeah.
I'll just to
Okay.
hold the amethyst.
Yeah.
So that's worked well.
So, okay, so the part about, asking our higher self or our guides or something, giving them an offering, I have no idea what my higher self would want other than, like snacks or something. I have no idea. So that's kind of cool. Maybe give it some thought. Like, what does my higher self want?
Yeah.
Definitely snacks.
I just go off of like the prettiest crystal that I own
Oh, yeah.
and just like a pretty one and then just be like, "Here, I offer you this." It's
my,
pretty.
my higher self would be thanks, bitch. Now, let's get to this.
Another thing that works is there's this tincture, and it's called Bobinsana tincture.
Okay, what?
Uh,
Say it
Bobin
again.
Bobinsana,
Okay.
Bobinsana, Bobinsana.
Bobin sana. Okay.
Yep, yep, got it. So it is an herb. So it's actually it's a plant. So you take it and we can make a tincture with it. You can just buy them on Etsy, honestly. I mean, you don't
Sure.
have to make it yourself. But what it does is what it actually does is it helps with dream work, but it helps with dream healing. So I've found though that when I take it, so you take the dropper right before going to bed, and then if you wake up in the middle of the night, you should take it a second time. If you don't wake up, you're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't have to wake up to take it, but it's just if it happens, you can. What I've noticed when I do take that, I'll remember like 3 or 4 dreams at a time
Oh, cool.
instead of like just one. So that stuff for me absolutely works.
Excellent. Do you think that it's the actual herb or it's the intention behind taking in that herb? Which I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing because we don't want to discount the efficacy of the herb, but that's interesting to me
Yeah, yeah, it is. I would say it's probably both.
with the
But
intention. Yeah.
yeah.
I never remember my dreams. It's very rare. There's one dream that I remembered in the last, I'm going to say 6 months. And then this one made me mad. And so I'm like, I don't care about it.
Yeah, so Bobin Sana actually comes from the Amazon. And so they've used it for generations, and so they use it to heal the body, for enhancing spiritual and shamanic activities, and it's supposed to also help with lucid dreaming as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
All right. Okay. Okay, so that would be something fun to try. I want to try it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
and it doesn't hurt, doesn't do anything. Like,
no.
you know,
Right.
also helps boost your immune system too.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, everybody can use a little boost.
Yeah.
Does it help with interpreting the dream or is it just with remembering it?
It's more with remembering, I
Remembering.
think.
Okay.
And I think what the point being that once you remember and you can write it out more in detail.
Yeah.
Once you see it on paper, I think you can look at it with more objectivity.
Yeah.
And really be like, "Oh, okay. So like maybe this means that." And like so I've recently had dreams about visiting family, and being around my family, and just kind of like I haven't, like my family that lives in Nebraska, like I haven't seen them in, God, I don't know, 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I recently started having dreams about them, and so I started writing things down, and yeah, I can see it as I write it down, and when I talk about like having conversations with certain people, what that means.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Very cool.
it's just interesting, yeah, when you look at it that way. But yeah, that's why you want to write them down, is because it helps the way that it changes the perspective from which you're looking at it. And sometimes it also helps if you go back, like just days later or weeks later, because now you're just looking at it like a written down story, like, oh, okay, like I can understand that better as well. um I've, like I said, I always used to just share dreams with like my mom, like we would just talk about it, and I've always felt that when I talked about it with someone else, it's just you tell me your dream and I tell you mine, and we can each, like I can tell you, oh, okay, maybe this is because you're feeling,
Yes.
you know, like this, or because you're feeling like you don't deserve this or whatever. And I'm just able to look at it better for them. So
The last dream that I had that I remembered, it was really like it was hard hitting. It's the type of dream that you keep remembering throughout the day, like, oh, I had that dream last night. And so
oh,
I actually reached out to Kathy and I'm like, okay, let me tell you this. This is my dream. Tell me what you think. And what she got from it was completely different than what I got from it. And then when you put the two together, I was like, oh yeah. And it
mm-hmm.
was a weird dream. I was in this house, it was converted. It was like this old Victorian house, and it was converted into a hair salon. And there were six other women in there. And I left the room, and I came back, and they had all found this big stash of coffee packets, and
Uh-huh.
they had taken them all and hadn't left any for me. And I'm like, dude, if you each just give me two packets, then I'll have a dozen, and then you'll have a lot. And they
Uh-huh.
wouldn't. Well, I was pissed. I was like, all right, well, and I took some. So we needed to get to the bottom of that. So yeah, dreams are weird.
They are weird. So did you figure out like what that meant for you, or?
And yeah, I started to, because it felt like I was giving, like with what I do, my job,
Mm-hmm.
readings and all that stuff. And, yeah, I'm giving, helping others. And, when it, and I felt like, when it came time, like, well, how come nobody ever thought of me? So it was a little bit of a Leo, like, wait a minute, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, once I figured out that I was mad about, how come, then I had to do a little bit deeper into it and like, am I giving myself what I need?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that
Okay.
was a rabbit hole.
Yeah. No, but see, that's the importance of dreams, and it's interesting. I find it most interesting for people that don't normally remember your dreams. When you do remember a
Right.
dream, it's like you are meant to remember this. Like there was clearly a message for you
Yes.
there.
And I never remember my dreams.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, my husband doesn't either. Every once in a while, he'll have one, then he'll tell me about it, and but it's very, very rare. Where I'm like, because he'll ask me all the time, "What'd you dream about?" I'm like, "Do you really want to know?" Because it was just a bunch of like, it was just most of the time my stuff is processing my day.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started designing, and I'd be on the computer for, I don't know, 4 hours at a time at least, working on someone's kitchen, and then I would be so involved with this design, and obviously it's all in my head, and I'd end up having dreams of designing this kitchen in my dreams, and I'm like,
Nice.
oh, I would wake up and I'd be like, oh, I just worked for like another 8 hours for free.
For free.
So
Bill your client and be like, look, your kitchen cost me 8 hours of sleep. You're
I
paying for
was
it.
so mad. I was so mad. And that's also happened to me. My first reading that I ever booked with Sam, um the night before I had my reading with her, I had like a whole dream about her, like, and so I remember telling her, I'm like, you work in the astral realm. I'm like, you should maybe charge a little extra.
Right.
Because I think you gave me like two readings. I was like dreaming that she was giving me a reading.
Oh my god. No, so was like the things that she was telling you in the readings in your dreams, Did that come out in a real life reading?
I don't remember what she was saying in the reading.
Ah,
No, it was more just like just the fact that she was there.
yeah.
And I when I told her about it though, she did say that clients tell her that all the time.
Oh, I wonder if she's traveling. Like she's
She
traveling in.
does.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, she does. But I think that's cool that that
Uh,
happens. I'm like, it's I got two readings.
right, double the yeah. Wait a minute.
Kind of. I mean, I honestly don't really remember what was happening in the dream, but I just know she was there. So, if anything, it kind of just made me feel more comfortable with her once I got to the actual reading,
Yes.
because it was like, oh, I know you.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the whole point of her astral
Hmm.
is just building the rapport with the client on the soul level before and we meet in the physical, which is pretty cool.
That's very cool. So, and it actually ties in. So, okay, when we're dreaming, we're in the fourth, the fifth, right? Those six dimensions because it's all about consciousness. Or alpha, beta, theta, all those gamma, delta, all of that, right? So, when we're in those consciousness, we're in another dimension, okay? And when we're in that dimensional consciousness, we're actually chilling and doing our job. So, that's another thing. When people dream and they have there are these crazy dreams like with me I don't remember my dreams because typically what I'm doing is I'm working, I'm teaching, I'm doing stuff on the other side, so there's really no reason for me to remember it unless I have to, in which case I do. So yeah, that's again, you can tie all of that into those levels of consciousness and energy and science.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so one of the other things you can do just to improve your recollection of dreams. So, if you want to improve your recall skills, and what this is going to do is going to help. It's a memory exercise
Oh,
that's not just going to help with dreams, but it's also just going to help with recall in general. Like
okay, I
so.
need this.
So this is like when you start by setting daily recall targets. So I think we talked about this about so like if you go like let's say you're making your breakfast and you're like, okay, I'm going to set my coffee mug on the right hand side of my coffee pot, whatever, and then I'm gonna walk away or whatever. And so you walk away from it, and you say this, like you can say it in your head, just focus on it for a little bit, like they're to the right of the coffee pot, right of the coffee pot, right of the coffee pot. And then you go about your day, come back to it, and then when you come back into the kitchen, you know exactly where it's at,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You can do this with your slippers another day. So you don't want to keep doing the same thing every single
No,
day. You
right,
want to
yeah.
like so change it up. You like your slippers, your keys, your dog leash or something. So remember where, see where you left it, and then make your these like mental notes that okay, it's right here and it's underneath the windowsill to the left side of the plant or whatever. Just be specific. Don't just be like I left them in the corner. Like it's you got to be specific. So once you start doing this, so you want to start doing with just one target a day, and then eventually you can increase the amount of targets up to like 4 a day. So this is improving the power of your memory just in general, but it's also going to improve your recollection, and that's going to translate into your dreams.
Very cool. Very cool.
The main thing though too, like this one's effortless, is just setting the intention before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Again, so like you said, what's the difference between taking a Bobinsana tincture or setting the intention? I mean, it doesn't hurt to do both, but if you like want to start tonight, you can just set the intention like I have the intention tonight to recall my dream for whatever message is I'm meant to have,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Mine would be I want to know what I'm doing that I'm not remembering, right? Like I set the intention to remember, any life on the other side activities that I perform when I'm sleeping but don't remember. That would be
Yeah.
interesting. That would be really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So and it's I know a lot of people talk about like lucid dreaming. Have you ever had a lucid dream?
Not that I'm aware of, and whenever I try to read about it, I'm very disinterested. So that's my cue, like, it's not for you. But there's a member of our group, Evelino, and he actually is quite skilled at lucid dreaming. So I would love to have him on sometime and talk to him about, like, dude, what do you do? How do you do it? What's that? How does that happen?
Yeah. I know with lucid dreaming, it used to be like that was just like a pseudoscience because all it was people who would talk about their experiences. But just in like the last, I think it's like 20 years, 25 years, there has actually been a lot more research done on the scientific level, like
Yeah.
for lucid dreaming, that it is truly a state of
Yeah.
consciousness that people go into, and the benefits of, if you want to, though, I just feel like with lucid dreaming, the most of the times that I hear of people doing it, it's like a bad experience. It's like
Right.
there's some entity that walked into my room and I couldn't move, and I'm like, like they're frozen, and I'm like, ah, that's scary.
And I don't, I have a, not to get off on tangent, but I have a, sleep paralysis. I don't know. I've done some
Mm-hmm.
research into it. I think it's not technically sleep paralysis. It's just your physical, you're in the astral realm. You're out of body. You
Yeah.
can't, you know what's going on because you're lucid, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't move your body because you're not in your body. And people are like, I'm being held down by a demon or some nonsense like that. Or, it's like, oh, for God's sakes. That's the science doesn't support that theory.
Yeah. So, okay. So, last thing I just wanted to, for anyone that's interested, my favorite dream encyclopedia is by James R. Lewis, and I will link it in the show notes, for anyone that's interested. I like it because it talks about a lot about like REM, like
Nice.
just the states of dreaming, the psychological approach to dreams. There's just a lot of information
Yeah.
that I don't want to get too technical with today, but if you're interested in learning more, like there's a lot of cool stuff in there. The other thing though, don't discount just the value of being able to share your dreams with other people.
Right.
Like, I know I've joked like nobody cares about your dreams,
Right.
but like but it's important sometimes, especially if you can remember it, and it's like you said, if it sticks to you, it's one of those that like it's hard for you to let go of. It's usually there's a message there, but if you're having trouble interpreting it, share it with someone. So like I would totally be down to, like, if you want to share a dream that you've had that stuck to you in our group, like,
Please.
yeah, because like I want to tackle it and like see if I can like dig out more for you.
Well, and I approve those posts 90% of the time. I mean, occasionally you'll get in there before me and approve something,
Yeah.
but anytime there's a dream post, I always tag one of our other members, Hammer. But man, I'll tag you in those too, so we can have all sorts of people interpreting them. I
Yeah.
love watching other people interpret dreams.
Yeah, I like doing it. Just it's just fun.
Okay, okay, we'll tag each other. Pinky swear.
Okay. Okay. All right.
We're doing pinky swear here. You can't see us, but we're doing it.
All right.
Okay. What else? You got any closing vibe we want to talk about?
I don't, but
You
I
don't?
think you
Okay.
do.
I do. I do actually. Okay, yeah. So, what I want to talk about this week is that earlier someone had asked me how they develop their clairvoyance faster. I get these questions a lot from people. It's not just my intuitive development students, it's just people that generally want to know, well, how do I develop that faster? And,
Mm-hmm.
so the first thing I did was I asked them, which of your clairs is the strongest? And they were like, I'm not really sure. So then I'm like, okay, well, which one do you typically receive information through? And again, they really didn't know. And that's common. Like people just
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So then I asked them, okay, so how often do you set energetic boundaries with others? Right? And they are like, well, how do I do that? So again, empaths are, many of us are walking around unskilled and untrained through no fault of their own. We're not taught this in school, which we should be. So, a lot of times people are like, I don't know how to do any of that, but
Mm-hmm.
how do I develop faster? And I'm like, well, you got to slow your roll. Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, I realized the conversation had headed into a different direction. And so my answer is layered, basically. All right. So
Okay.
when we unwrap a gift, most people want to get right to the good stuff without a lot of that pesky tape and paper. But we can't do that with our intuitive abilities. If you want to develop a clairvoyant clarity and easily recognize visuals, signs, symbols, You have to go through that learning process like any new skill that you are going to master. It's no
Yeah.
different than roller skating. So, one of the reasons that many intuitives, empaths, channels, mediums, healers, all of, et ceteras, one of the reasons that we suffer from anxiety, exhaustion, and just generally sometimes feeling overwhelmed is because we try to use those abilities without any sort of solid, energetic foundation to build upon. Okay. A lot of
Okay.
times, I remember a couple years ago, I had met two intuitives, and I'm like, well, what are your guys' processes? How do you, set your boundaries? How do you do those things? And they're like, well, we don't like to label it. And I'm like, but do you like being exhausted? Do you like, it was the dumbest thing. And I'm like, all right, well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
That just sounds like they didn't want to share anything.
It was really weird. It was
Hmm.
that whole we're too cool to
That
do
sounds
all
like
that.
ego.
It
Hmm.
was ego and age. I mean, they were like, in their young 20s and they had no idea. Which, I'm not criticizing them because, none of us have any idea when we first started out. Again, this shit isn't taught in school, but you know, there was I was like, well, I'm not really going to mess with that then. But you do you.
Hmm.
Hope
Yeah.
that works out for you. But
Yeah.
so people want to read people or situations without first having any sort of strong energetic boundaries in place for their own energy. But I don't know that people understand that they need that. So that's why I try to explain that as, carefully as clearly as possible. So, and of course, that feels familiar, especially to us empaths. We want to take care of others before we even worry about ourselves. So that is it's a lovely trait to have, to want to take care of others, but you have to make sure that you fill your own cup first,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to your energetic body. All right, so there's just a few things that will help. First, you have to learn to manage your empathic abilities by being able to identify the difference between your own energy and the emotions of others. That's critical. That's absolutely foundational for being developing any sort of intuitive abilities.
Yeah.
You have to learn to set airtight physical and energetic boundaries in order to better maintain the flow of energy and the information coming in. And boundaries aren't just sort of like energetic, they're also physical, by asking for what you need, they're
Hmm.
emotional, all of that stuff. So you really need to learn how to speak your truth and ask for what you need. That's how you set
Hmm.
boundaries.
Hmm.
And then learning how to become a strong conduit for universal energy to flow through you, and then how to maintain that flow and boundaries throughout your day. Reiki is a great way to learn how to channel energy. Your Reiki practitioner should be teaching you how to channel. So many Usui master teachers want to focus on all of this super traditional, super secret stuff, right? And that's great,
Hmm.
but any sort of energy work, your body is the channel and it is flowing through you. And any good Reiki teacher should teach you how to channel. Okay.
Okay.
And then as you learn how to do all of this, then your connection to source energy is going to grow. It's going to strengthen. Your energy centers open up, all of your chakras, they start to
Mm.
flow more freely. And then your intuitive abilities begin to show themselves and sort of take shape. And this is
Okay.
when they begin to strengthen. So it's a natural flow to the process. You can't make. So basically, how do I, strengthen or learn these things faster? By doing all those things that I just said. That's how you
Okay.
do that. If you want to be a stronger intuitive, you first have to be a stronger empath. And I know that not everybody identifies as an empath. A lot of people see it as this disempowering sort of emo, depressed,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
not true at all. But however, every single one of us is a spiritual being. We're energetic beings, and that gives every single one of us the ability to sense energy. So, it's if you can sense it, you can manage it. And if you can manage it, you can master it. So, again, a process. So, I'm just going to do a little plug here. Learn how to do that, mastering your empathic abilities, by joining my workshop for empaths. Live discussion. It's on September 11th. So you've got about, you've got a little over 30 days. And this workshop is also going to be available for digital download if you can't make it live. And just visit thewokakashic.com to register. And it's like $22. So it's a good deal.
Yes. It's a
So
very good deal.
there you go. That's my closing vibe. Be a badass
That's
empath,
excellent.
and then you'll be a badass intuitive.
I had a question for you. How does it feel for you when you pick up someone else's energy? Does it feel like it's sitting in a different part of your body?
I feel it in typically my gut. So it feels to me like anxiety, and it doesn't matter if it's not anxiety, whatever it is, it feels like anxiety. So I know that I've picked something up that's not mine. That's my body's way of saying, get the fuck out. And so
Okay.
then I do I just strengthen, I do my sovereignty exercises, right? Strengthen it,
Mm-hmm.
claim it, that sort of thing. What's it
Very
feel like for you?
cool. I get it like right in my heart,
In your heart
like right in my
center.
chest.
Yeah,
It's just
nice.
like, and it's like something like someone put a brick
Oh,
on my chest, and I'm just like, get off me.
right, right. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're sensing, it always manifests as like a heartbreak.
Yeah, like a heartbreak.
So,
Yeah.
what do you
So
do to get rid of it?
I do the grounding exercise. I
Nice.
just sit there and just do some breath work,
Hmm.
and then also like imagine, like do the grounding, like whether I do like the one that you taught me from the crown,
Yep.
or the growing the roots, or but a lot of it for me is just grounding my energy and
Yep.
just connecting, and also like probably something I learned from my mom, like remember we talked about like how she tells spirits to F off. Like
She immediately turns to violence. Yes, I remember that in detail.
so
It's my favorite story ever.
so a little bit of that also being like, get off me, like I don't get your fucking shit off me, I don't want it.
Um, So, yeah, remember that your aura, your soul, your etheric field, whatever it is you want to call it, that goes out around you 15 feet above and below. So, anybody that steps within that is going, you're going to feel that stuff. So, that's why it's so important to claim that energy because you can't necessarily kick their energy out of yours, but you can say, I'm not going to pick up your stuff. You can't jump
Yes.
on my stuff. You can't have any of my energy. Like, it's like you're in a crowded bus. You can't necessarily,
Uh-huh.
you know, tell people to get off, but you
Mm-hmm.
can maintain your personal space.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's everything we have for today. Now, Joe, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, I want to talk about the dark night of the soul and what that looks like for people and how to help people sort of navigate it.
Wow, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
think a lot
excited
of people
about it.
need. I didn't even know that I like that was a thing or that I had gone through that, but like it's funny like reading up on that and like learning more about that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what that was. So
Everybody has one, but they're different for different people, And so
yeah.
some people, they are these big traumatic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
experiences, and other people are like, oh, I had my Kundalini awaken.
Right.
It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
all right, well, how, how did that feel? It
Yeah.
sucked. All right, well, there's a dark night of the soul for you. You had a
Yeah.
gray night of the soul more.
Yes. All right. Okay, well, before we sign off, I did just want to remind you again, please visit our website. If you haven't left a review for us on Apple Podcast, there is a direct link on our website now, so you can just pop on
Yay.
there and leave us a review.
Please leave us a review.
Also, if you have suggestions for episodes, stuff that you want to hear about, there is a contact form on our website. You can just directly send us a little message saying, hey, how about you guys talk about this? And we're totally open. So,
It is next. It's a next level website, you guys. Seriously, you can do everything on there. Find a
it's.
recipe probably if you search. I don't know.
We'll put a recipe up there for Bobin Sana.
Right.
All right.
Hey, you can find us on all the socials under Esoterics Podcast. We have a new Pinterest account, which is super fun. So please follow us on Pinterest and pin our posts and help us grow that. I really have fun with that and go down the rabbit hole there. And be sure to join our Facebook group, the Woke Akashic, where you're going to hear firsthand about all of our classes and events. And so I offer some specials there, special pricing for group members only. I Fiora, I what sort of offers do you have? Group only offers?
Group only offers. I have readings up.
Ooh,
So, yeah, I have the birth chart oracle tarot reading, which can be structured around finance, career,
nice.
or love. Yeah.
Okay,
So all that's on there.
that's very fun. Very fun. I love it. Get your stuff read, people. Oh, and you can find us
Yes.
on Instagram and TikTok too.
Yes.
Have we done anything on TikTok recently?
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna teach a grounding exercise, not a grounding exercise, how to channel energy exercise
Ooh.
on TikTok.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is necessary information that people need
Yeah.
to know.
And yeah, this is when I learned from a book when I was little. So I'll make that today. I'll post it up there
I'm
and
excited.
see what happens. All right. Well, thank you guys for sharing space with us today. Stay mystical, magical, and ready to do it again next week.
Thanks, guys. It was fun. Bye bye.
Bye.